guys, welcome back again to another video. So I decided that I wanted to start a new channel, or not new channel, a new series on my channel entitled Life in Korea, just because, you know, I think that a lot of times when people come here to study abroad or to live as a teacher or whatever the case may be, people kind of have a jaded or unachievable expectation of what living in Korea is like. And so I kind of wanted to just put my own experiences out there and maybe kind of shed a little light on what it's really like living in a foreign country kind of on your own for the first time, or, you know, I don't know, I've been here for 2 years now, so it's not exactly the first time, but it's still a very unique experience. I do want to put a disclaimer that, you know, anything that I might say, I don't want it to be misconstrued as hating Korea or bashing Korea. That's 100% not the case. I obviously like living here, or else I wouldn't be here. But this is more just to give a more realistic view of what it's like to live here. So today's topic I wanted to focus on was loneliness. Because I think a lot of people, when they come here, they're expecting, or hoping at least, to, you know, jump right in, you know, making friends and meeting people and connecting. But it's kind of hard to do, especially if you don't speak Korean, or, you know, the language of whatever country that you're studying abroad in. So I know for me, when I first came here, I was lucky enough because my best friends were already living here, so I kind of came with them, so I had people here to talk to and connect with. But outside of them, get out of here, what are you doing? Outside of them, it was very difficult to kind of meet and connect with people. I will say that thankfully, you know, there's a lot of Facebook groups, as I've mentioned in other videos, that provide outlets for connecting, but even still it's hard, especially when you're a teacher. This is a full-time job. There's not a lot of opportunity to you know, spend an excessive amount an excessive amount of an excessive amount of time out meeting people. I clearly have a companion. So yeah, I would definitely say I'm very lonely. It's something that I've kind of just started to realize, and it's definitely being exacerbated with this whole corona pandemic and having to do social distancing and staying inside. But, you know, when you're here, you meet people from all different walks of life, and while you may, you know, be friends with them, it's hard to maintain those friendships, just because Korea, even though it's a small country, Seoul itself is a very, very large city. And so I have friends who I'm cool with them, and we hang out from time to time, but it's not a consistently ongoing friendship. A lot of my different, you know, teacher friends, they work at different schools, they have different schedules, so I don't really get to see them. People are tired. It's kind of hard to feel connected to anyone, and especially because my family is in the States, so I don't get to talk to them as much as I would want to, and you kind of forget to reach out. I know for me, definitely, I've kind of come into my own little bubble here, and while I do enjoy my own personal time and being able to do the things that I want when I want to, I'm definitely an extroverted person, and being sociable is how I connect with people. And so not being able to do that, really, it kind of brings you down, and it's hard to connect. And you know, I think a lot of people have the expectation that they're gonna meet and make a lot of Korean friends, which thankfully I have made some, but oftentimes when you don't speak Korean, it's hard to maintain a strong friendship with them because it's difficult for you to connect. And just as I said before, oftentimes people work in other parts of the city or work far away, and it's definitely become more evident to me that Koreans tend to stay with their Korean friends and in their life, and foreigners the same. You know, you make your foreigner friends and you kind of stay in that bubble, which is unfortunate but true. And it's not to blame on anyone on their part, but it is something that definitely happens. And so I don't want people to come to Korea thinking oh, it's gonna be this easy new transition, you're gonna meet all these people and do all these things, which of course you should try to do that. That definitely should be your goal, but there's gonna be a lot of times when you're just by yourself. And you know, I know I've seen that a lot of girls are oh, I want to meet a Korean oppa and I want to get a boyfriend and a lot of that stuff, but to be completely honest, that isn't likely to happen. Not that it can't or won't. I know many successful foreigner Korean couples who are lovely and happy and enjoying their lives together. But I don't think it's a realistic expectation to come with, especially because a lot of times, at least in my own experience, I won't say for everyone, but in my experience, Koreans and foreigners, when they're dating, it's more seen as kind of a transient relationship, not necessarily something that could be maintained long term. Just because if you don't speak Korean, that's obviously a really huge thing if they don't speak fluent English. Another thing is culture differences. Like, people kind of joke about that, but there's a really dramatic difference in how dating relationships and familiar relationships with Koreans versus foreigners, especially Western foreigners. It's very, very different. And so sometimes those things just don't mesh. And I have a lot of wonderful Korean guy friends, but they've been honest, like, I don't see myself marrying a foreigner. Like, they just don't. And it's not to slander anyone or put anyone down, but they go with what they're comfortable with, which I think is pretty normal for anyone. I also think that coming here, you need to be comfortable being alone, or else you could find yourself in a very negative headspace. Thankfully, I'm comfortable with that, but there's been times when I've just been really, really down and kind of sad, and I want to go out or I want to do things, but I don't. I wouldn't say that I'm depressed or anything like that, nothing quite to that extreme, but there are definitely times when it's difficult to connect with other people and you feel a bit of loneliness. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there so that people are aware of that when you're coming here. But on the upside, it gives you a lot of opportunity to learn about yourself. I think that's such a gift that sometimes people don't always take advantage of, and so it's definitely something that you should work on. So for me, for example, I really love dancing, but due to my work schedule, I just don't have any time. And so because a lot of my friends, my roommate, for example, her fiance is in another city, so she usually goes to see him on the weekends. My other friend just moved to Jeju. Some of my work friends and coworkers, they live near our job, and I live on the other side of the city, so sometimes it's hard for us to connect. And so when you find yourself kind of having a lot of space, it's always a good idea, I think, to kind of look internally and see what kind of person you are, what your goal is, and find things that you want. So because I have a lot of free time now, I'm starting to look at finding a dance space to just dance at. Not necessarily a studio, because they don't have classes at the times that I'm free during the week because I work late, but maybe just go and dance or journal or do some self-reflection, things like that, to kind of put off or resolve those feelings. Loneliness is not a negative thing. It's definitely an emotion that I think is important for your growth and self-understanding, but it's not something that you want to feel all the time. So I would just say, find something that you're comfortable doing alone. Like, for example, I love to cook. I cook for my friends all the time. I like taking desserts and stuff to my job for my coworkers. So that's something that I've really, really thrown myself into. YouTubing, everyone's like, oh, everyone's a YouTuber, it's not that important. But it's actually really fun. It's a good way to kind of get your thoughts out. I don't expect my channel to blow up or get crazy, but it was just a way for me to put out my experiences, kind of put it into the universe of things that I'm going through, and just a way to work through it, I guess. I rant a lot to my family, oh, Korea this and Korea that, and kind of the negative things that I experienced. And she's always asking me, well, if you're feeling all these negative things, why are you even still there? Why are you staying in Korea? And, as much as I whine and complain, there's still a lot of wonderful aspects to living here. And I think being alone and having my own space is one of them. I think sometimes when you're a young adult or you're growing up and you're in the same city or same state even as your family, you can feel a little bit closed. You're kind of stuck in the same place. And so coming here has really, really helped me to, sorry, I have allergies, guys. Coming here has really helped me to find the things that make me happy and just try a bunch of new things that maybe I wouldn't have tried back home. Like I do henna a lot, not on anyone else usually, but usually on myself. I've done that. I've started cooking a lot. I'm gonna start gardening soon, and like I have a little balcony, so I'm gonna make my own little garden oasis. Just, you know, a wide range of things, and I think that's something to be taken advantage of. So yeah, that's my little life in Korea, whatever, video for today about loneliness. And I just hope that I've helped give you maybe a more realistic understanding of what it's like here in one aspect. This is probably a series that I'll post like maybe once a week or every other week. I'm not really sure how often, just to kind of give a more, for me at least, accurate picture of what it's like living in a foreign country as a foreigner. Okay? All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you